Here we are again, my friend.
Here
Here
we
we
are
are
again.
again. Still,
So,
still,
I,
still working, you know, figuring out what's going on with the world and what's going on with us.
we'll try to find a solution for everything, in this chaos situation,
Yeah.
But we try to do as best as possible to solve the things that are coming right now. Well,
You know,
maybe.
the thing is, I am totally optimistic. I think maybe I'm naive with that, but I always think that if you know the problem, you will get out.
Mhm.
You understand? It's
Mhm.
like most of the time you don't get out of a situation because you don't understand what's going on.
Mhm.
So you don't, first of all, you don't always understand there is a problem. And second, you don't even understand what the problem is.
And that's just the first step that's very difficult to solve, Find out
But
what's
the
the
thing is, exactly, but the thing is, from a design point of view, if you find the problem, you found the solution.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
You see where I'm going? Is like if you
exactly.
understand what the problem is that you need to solve.
Yeah, it's like a mind. That's the problem. I need to do the opposite. That there's not a problem anymore.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
true.
understand what the problem is. Okay. How do we solve it? That's a very different conversation.
I think I found out in the last. I mean, as soon I try to understand that there should be a problem and then you need to solve it. What I found out, and maybe it's
Yeah.
a stupid thing but in my case, it's more difficult to understand what the problem is instead of finding a solution. Because
Yes, it's
actually, because
always the most difficult part.
it's like answering, but if you need to get something, you need to ask a good question to receive a solution or a good answer.
Yes. Yes.
That's
We struggle with that all day. I mean, this is I think is the biggest issue, you know. We go in life thinking we don't have a problem. That's the first, like I said, that's the first bigger thing, you know, when you think you don't have one.
hmm
Um, and then the second thing is if you figure out something is not working well,
hmm
uh, why isn't it working well? That's why I was talking to a friend and I was telling him it is important for him. So he's trying to build, he has a cool idea, a very cool idea. And I think he has the network of people to actually build it
hmm
in terms of users. I think he has a very, he can build a core users at the beginning to
hmm
make the product successful. But I tell him, you need a plan. Okay. And he's the kind of guy who cannot have a plan because you see what I'm saying? He's
hmm
always like, oh, everything is gonna happen. The universe is gonna align things for me. I said, yeah, the universe is aligning things for everyone. You know, it's not just for you. So you still need a plan. You know.
Of course.
And I was explaining to him why it's so important to have a plan. Call it a business plan, call it a product plan, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have a plan, things become simpler. Because whatever plan you have will not be perfect. So when you do have a plan, at least you know when you have a problem. Because you look at the plan and you look at where you are, you say, there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You start thinking, I have a problem. You understand? But when
Exactly.
you don't have a plan, it's like you're going in a place without a map. You're lost, you
Exactly.
don't even know you're lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like traveling the world without finding a destination.
Exactly. You say, where am I going? You don't even know if you're late.
Exactly.
You don't even know
Exactly.
if you're going in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So I told him his life as a business person, if that's what he wants to do, he
Mm-hmm.
needs a plan. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? And it doesn't matter if it's a good plan, a bad plan, whatever it is, you need a plan because when you look at the plan and you look at where you are, you say something is wrong.
Exactly, and then as soon you move, you can find other problems and then other solution. It's like, Warren Buffett said, I know that you say all the time that they're not genius, but Warren Buffett said that even a guy that is not a genius, but if this guy has a plan, can beat a genius without a plan,
Yes, without
you
a
know?
plan. If you don't have a plan, you're lost. So the thing is, when you have a plan, you're always doing two things. You're either executing the plan or
Mm-hmm.
you're either making the plan better. You understand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if you're working and reality is not showing you what the plan said, that means the plan needs to be working out. You need to work the plan. You need to change the plan. You need to say, oh, I didn't miss. What am I missing? So you're working on
Mm-hmm.
making that plan better. Now, when the plan, you understand, when the plan is at the good place, you say, okay, this is what I was missing. Then you go and execute what
Mm-hmm.
your plan said. And then you can go back. Was I right or not? So you still doing that back and forth between your
Mm-hmm.
design and
Mm-hmm.
reality all the time.
Exactly.
Your
Mm-hmm.
design and reality. And that's where creation starts for me.
Of course, I know absolutely what you mean. That's like, where I have a plan also, but I'm stucking in how can I say, in the plan right now, in this plan right now, that, I'm trying to building this platform with my business partner, and he's in charge of, creating this platform, but it's more for the back end. And, by November, the MVP should come online. I mean, at least a beta version. So, he told me that, David, we can
That's
try
great.
for, you
That's a
know,
plan. The MVP end of November. I mean, that's great.
yes, he's moving good and he's moving fast. That's
Good.
good. And we are always, trying to solve we're finding the problems, automatically, in the platform technical way. And, but he told me,
That's a good problem.
exactly. And he told me, David, I'm not a guy, a visual designer, I do not understand the user interface, how those guy works. I'm more from the back end. I can write the codes.
Yeah.
For the MVP, I can put a template, as a design temporarily,
Mm-hmm.
but that's up to you. In my case, for the beginning, even if it's not a beta version, I would not love to put, just a basic template without a good design, because in my humble opinion, and maybe it's completely a mistake, I read sometime on the internet about an interview said that a user interface is like a joke. If you need to, explain the joke, it's not, it's not easy. That's why I
It's
think
not a
a good
joke anymore.
it's
It's not
it's
funny.
not exactly, it's not
It's not
funny.
funny.
And if we start, I think we should to start with a good design. The thing is now, what I'm trying to understand for myself is, it's a time to find a visual designer, for the user interface. Maybe it's too early. Um, should I try with this template that the guy told me? And if I need someone, how should I approach this guy? There's like all those questions coming in my mind. Where I am right now. So should I take the next step or not?
So you see, I'm gonna try. I think I understand what you're saying. What you're
Yeah,
saying is, how early should I put design?
exactly.
Okay. So I'll tell you something.
Mm.
The problem with the world is bad design.
Okay. So I need to find out a guy that he's a good design, a good
I
design.
mean, the
Mm.
problem with the world is bad
Mm-hmm.
design.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
understand? The problem with the world is bad design. What is design? Design is not the color.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? It's not
Yeah.
if I click here or click there.
Mm-hmm.
It's why is the click here or not there.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because when you build a product,
Mm-hmm.
you build a product with the user in mind.
Exactly.
And you need to know how this user thinks, what he's looking for, what's easier for him to her
Mm-hmm.
to find, easier for him or her.
Mm-hmm. I tell you something, in the meantime, I tried, to have a conversation with some visual designer, and all the time, I explained what we are trying to build, they always told me, if I would accept your offer, David, we need to find out what the customer wants. So we need to put like a research in
That's
the,
exactly right.
a research with maybe how many people do you know? How many customers? For example, 500.
That's exactly right.
You need to call 200 people and find out when we create a better version. So where do they go with the? Where do they click? Why are clicking there?
But let's wait. Let's go slowly there. Maybe this guy was making fun of you, okay? Because a good designer actually knows within an app where the eye goes first. Anyone that went to design school, graphic design school, knows that. Okay? You don't need to ask people where they look first. Any good graphic designer knows that. But design is beyond graphic designer. I'll give you an example. I always do that. Okay, you're asking me something about the app, and okay. So all over the world, people are on the street protesting. What are they protesting against? Bad design. The system is not doing what it's supposed to do.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because what is society? It's like if you have something that was built 150 years ago and things have changed 150 years later, people are saying you need to update the design. You need to update the design. I want you to understand how important design is. Design is literally the first thing you need, because if you don't solve design, why are you building? You shouldn't be building if you haven't solved design. It's like they say, okay, I want to build a house. Let's say I'm talking to you, okay? I say, David, I want to build a house. And you build the house. When you come back, you say 2 years later, you say, William, I built the house. What do you think is going to happen? I'm going to say, what did you build? You built what you wanted to build. You didn't even ask me.
Ask me, exactly. How do you want a house? What kind of door? How should it look like? Do you want a penthouse or something? All this,
You didn't ask me, do I want an apartment, a beach house, mountain house? How many people are going to live in it? Is it going to be my primary residence, or am I going there only on weekends? Do I have a family? I am a bachelor. Am I looking for a house to have parties, or am I looking for a house to raise my family? You understand? All those things are design. Because if you don't know those things, you'll come back in 2 years and you'll say, here is the house. And I say, you build what you had in your mind. You never asked me.
So, and I don't need this house.
I don't want, when I was saying a house, each person, if I'm from a tribe in the Amazonia, when I say I want a house, I'm sure I'm thinking differently than someone here in New York telling you they want a house. Because a house means different thing for different people. Who are you building the house for?
Exactly.
Okay? So again, I'm telling you, the problem with the world is bad design. And you know what bad designers do? When people do not use the product, or when people are protesting against the product, bad designers say, you need to adapt
to this bad design.
There you go. But what does good designers do? They design it in a way that everybody loves using it.
Exactly. They're creating something for the people.
Here you go. That's what design is so important, because it takes you away from you and make you concentrate on the other.
So I can say that you answered my question.
I think we went through it.
Absolutely.
But the problem is with the world is bad design. So when you don't have a choice, you're forced to use the design even if you protest. So bad designers use force. But good designers,
they design exactly what they want.
What you want, what the user wants, what the user needs, and how everyone interact in a way that's the only thing you want to do. Okay?
Yeah.
Of course, we're not going into the ethical aspect of design because there is an ethical aspect in design. Okay? For example, let's take Facebook. Good design. But you might say, yeah, but you make me addict to dopamine. The way it's designed. That's why I'm always hooked there. You understand? It's like a cigarette. Great design. But why are you doing this to me? You understand? Why are you making me addicted to this product? Okay?
Exactly.
So, and this is a gray area that I think it depends on who's designing or not. Do you use it or not? You know? But that's another level of design. But what I'm trying, it is part of design. You thought about it.
Okay.
For example, cigarette plays a lot with feeling confident. You remember Marlboro?
Yeah.
The cowboy. So if you have low self-esteem and you want to pick a girl, if you're a man, or if you're a girl, you want to look cool. You know, you're a man, you want to look cool. Marlboro was going to that macho image.
Exactly. At the same, they make another advertisement that if you smoke Marlboro, you have six-pack. But that's a bullshit, because if you smoke, it's much more difficult to have a six-pack than if you're not smoking. So,
but
it's like the last time. It's like kind of like the last time when we said, when you walk in an Apple store, it's like the emotion that if you smoke a Marlboro, you can look better to the girl, like more a macho guy. Yeah.
I'm telling you, the problem with the world is bad design and bad designers. Bad designers cannot tolerate people don't want the product.
So
good designer, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead. So bad designer, what are you telling?
Bad designers, when people say, I don't want what you're giving me, I'm protesting, they say the people don't know what they're talking about. While a good designer, look at it as an opportunity to build the next great user experience. They take input to make the user experience better. Design is at the core of everything that is wrong. Lack of design thinking, a lot of good designers. And what we're saying is the major issue is for you to start building, for you to come with a solution, you need to spend so much time to understand what the problem is. You understand? Now, when you see protests, when you see users not using your app, when you see people not buying your product, when you see people saying this doesn't work, what should you be doing?
Find out why it's not working. What's the problem?
And then build in a way that they all want it.
Exactly. So,
but I want you to understand we're talking about the most difficult thing to do.
Absolutely, Well, that has like the beginning of our talk. It's finding out the problem.
Yeah.
Well, so in my case, I need a designer. That's what I understood right now, and that's difficult because I think what should be difficult next is finding a good designer that understand the design.
So when we as entrepreneurs, we are learning as we move.
Yeah.
And we cannot always do everything, even if we know we have to do it. I'll give you an example. So let's say, so I'm gonna get personal. I'll take a real experience to explain it to you. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Great.
So let's say I'm building something and I know I need a designer. For me, it would be very difficult to go and just talk to a designer because I need myself to answer so many questions that I most likely will build a very bad version just to play around with it, to see how I feel, why it doesn't work, why it works. Ask a few friends, what do you think of this? And then I go to a designer. Okay? But that's because the way I learn. Okay? That's because of the way I learn. The way I learn by doing. I learn by being immersed in the problem. So I know I need a designer if I'm going to build something, but I will not start with the designer at the beginning. I will start with my understanding of what the problem is based on talking to people, understanding, you see where I'm going? So I usually go in layers. I go in layers. I never go straight up. So what I do is I learn with the product and evolve with the product. So I'll do rounds of level of designers of building, design and building, design and building. You know why? Because you build, you make the user work with it, you redesign, you build, you make the user work with it. You understand? I go those cycles.
It's like a flow.
Exactly. It's a flow, like a spiral. You know? And for me, the whole process, design is never ending.
I got it.
But there is a minimum level of design. If it doesn't have, I know I don't have a product. So what I'm trying to say is I've built something and all my friends have been using it for 6 months and I know it's really bad. But I needed that feedback first, then I can understand which designer to work with to get another layer. Okay, but to build that thing that is not perfect to the level that I wanted, it took me a year of research.
So you're telling me, and tell me if I understood wrong, that maybe I should start with this MVP with my design that I think that I have in mind, try to launch out this beta version, try to
Use
it with the customer, some customers, some friends, and then by the way I have these customers and users trying to use this platform, understanding what design I should I have and which designer can design this design.
Exactly. So that's exactly what I said. And what it means is you already put design in it. Because everything starts with design. Now, when you don't know that, it's probably bad design. You understand? When someone gets an app, I want you to understand something. When someone gets an app, let's go specific again. The first time they use the app, if they do not understand why this app is going to change their life or when do they need to use it, you lost your chance. First time. You need to get it the first time. Okay? And say, oh, I understand. I don't need that right now. They understood. You don't have that much time. Oh, have you heard of the Galache app? Yeah, you should download it. Okay, I download it. I look at it. Doesn't tell me anything. Okay.
Boom, lost.
It. That's it. Galache lost it. I will give you my example with Twitter. I download Twitter. I mean, Twitter is old. never ever needed it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I download Twitter probably a year ago, a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Load it, looked at it, was like, okay, I don't need it. But I knew why I could need it. I will tell you why. Because I understood that Twitter give you information faster than the news.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Twitter give you information of the people participating in what's going on. For example, you have something going on right now in Minsk, Belarus.
Mm-hmm.
So I can follow the protesters and I can follow government officials without news, without the filter. So I can see the propaganda of both, what they're saying, they're thinking, and I make my own judgment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I do not need CNN or Fox News or DW or whatever it is, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal. Take that primary source and then write something for me. Okay, that's the advantage of Twitter.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, there are disadvantages to it as well, because I always told you, I always look at both sides because I don't have side. I'm just searching and learning. Okay, so I had Twitter, never used it, but I started actively using it when COVID came. Because COVID is so political, no science at all. Okay, because people take numbers and make whatever they want if they're one side or the other side. So I wanted to understand what was the point of view of each side. What are the data saying? How much do we know? How much we don't know? So you can actually, create list or group of people with different views, and you read this guy is against. So I read all the argument of the guys against lockdown. This guy is in favor of lockdown. I read all the arguments of the people that are in favor of lockdowns, and I see where the bullshit is for myself. Okay?
Yes.
But I understood that what Twitter would do for me. For someone else, Twitter might be something different. People get married because they met people on Twitter. For some people, it's a dating app. That's what I mean. So what I'm trying to say is, when you're designing Twitter, you need to design Twitter for someone like me who's looking for the information. You need to design Twitter for someone like people that are looking to date people and get married as well. So when you're designing, you need to know, who am I designing for? Because you're not designing just for one person. You're designing for many people, and you have to make sure that each person, when they get on that app, they understand what's in it for them. You see how hard it is to design well?
Yes.
And
Okay. Yeah.
every product, imagine, that's why it's so hard. That's why protests or people tell you, I don't like your product, for a good designer, it's actually an incredible opportunity. Because
they ask why, and then they find out what they want.
It's not working.
Okay. Yes.
The problem with the world is bad design. Because people forgot many times that whatever is there is because at some point someone designed it for a purpose. Government are not something, or company are not something that is natural. It is something designed to solve a problem. Okay? Have a community. A company is like a community. You put it in place to solve a problem. An organization has a purpose. It is to solve a problem. The problem evolves. If the problem, what needs to happen? The organization needs to evolve with the problem. The organization disappears. Products need to evolve with the users, or the product disappears.
Okay.
You see someone saying I have a problem, all they're saying is bad design.
Okay, great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Well,
So you
yeah,
design is not just the colors on the app,
of course,
you know?
it's giving the people and try to understand when they are on the app why they can use it. You know what the problem will solve them. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And what they're looking for, how to make it easy for them to find it there, why
Yeah.
you are in their life. You know, it's like someone
Yeah.
knocking on my door. That's an app. Someone knocking on my door. Who is it? What do you want?
Yeah. Well, actually, I know what the problem is because in my case it's a multi-sided platform, for one part of the users and the other part of the users. So I think in both sides, what's the problem of this customer segment and what's the problem of this customer segment. The thing is, I don't know of a visual point of view how to put it together. And that's why maybe I thought finding a visual designer.
You need a designer to help you do that because what you have. So let's say you have people who want to go to party, and then you have the
Yeah,
people that have the clubs,
exactly.
but not the clubs are the same. You have
Mm-hmm.
different clubs, and not the people going out are the same. You have different people
Exact,
going out. So you need to
exactly.
design for at least two or three type of people within each group
Mm-hmm.
and make sure
Mm-hmm.
that once they get in, if I'm a club owner, I don't want to go to the experience of the guy going out. So you need to very fast tell me where to go. So my next step is the version of the app for me.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be difficult for me to figure out where do I do click and then it's just about maybe you asked me before or not. You understand? Or all those questions are what you will. This is called the user journey, user experience.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
understand? And it's like you say when someone has a need
Mm-hmm.
because they open your platform because they have a need. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so what are they trying to answer very fast? And that's the first thing they need to see. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't show it to them that right moment, you lost them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was reading,
Okay.
millennial has 7 seconds attention span. I don't know if it's true or not. Those are, I don't really trust any of those numbers. People they put 7 seconds. It's a lie because they have 7 seconds, but then they can watch Game of Thrones for 3 years, 5 years. You
But
understand?
that's right, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. But
oh
I
my
think
God.
what they mean is they need to know this in 7 seconds. You need to give them a reason to keep going.
Exactly.
So that means probably when they did Game of Thrones, every 7 seconds something happened. I don't know what that means, but
Uh,
literally, yeah. And they say the next generation, which is a little bit older, has 12 seconds. I mean, what does those numbers? I don't know what they mean, but I think for you and I who are product designers,
mm-hmm.
what it means is you don't have a lot of time before someone
Exactly.
figure out if they need to still hang around your product or move somewhere else.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the thing. So, William, in my situation, that what the problem is, and
I don't know what the
now
problem is. I know what you told me the problem is. I didn't look at
exactly.
it myself.
I
You
know.
told
I
me
know.
that's the problem.
No, no. I meant, if you would be in my case, in
Yeah.
my shoes, how would you approach it now? What are the next steps to build? To create the design with your co-founder for the beginning, like you did,
The
or
thing is, I would move with what I have.
okay.
And what you have is an engineer, back-end engineer that told you the designer is you, Davide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay,
You
wonderful.
go with
Yeah.
what you have, my brother, and then you make the next step.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You understand? At least then you'll have something to show. Now, if you
Mm-hmm.
had a designer before,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been the best. Yeah, but we don't always get the best. We're not always lucky
Exactly.
to have best. So doers do, and they
Exactly.
keep doing. You understand?
So I need to create my own design.
You're actually doing it.
Exactly.
Okay. So he will build whatever he builds. You will make friends use it. And then you know it's already bad. And then when you can't, you'll find a designer because you find the resources or you convince someone to help you to make a better version.
Okay, wonderful.
But you need to know it's not the best way, but that's what you have. Go with what you have.
Okay.
Go with
Wonderful.
what you have.
Great.
You know?
Thank you very much, brother. Okay, I understand. Yes, I got it. Yeah, that was like the thing that I had in my mind the last 1 week because you told me like that, and I mean you're trying always to find what is the best way, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it takes much more longer, because of course the best way should be, having a designer that creates your design for the people for this multi-sided. But if you do not have the resources, so you need to start with what you have, and then you will maybe understand better what design it is, and then okay.
But you need to know what you're missing. You need to know that you're missing the whole point why someone will use your product. Because unless you have good design driving the coding, it's useless. Okay? But when you have that app, at least you become an entrepreneur with an app, because most entrepreneurs don't even have an app.
Exactly.
So you become one with a bad app, but you become one with an app.
Exactly. But it's like the last thing you said about when you were in the process of, finding a designer. You said, when I explain what I want to achieve to someone, in this case, a designer, and he told me that, he said to me, no, I don't think that your idea works. Actually, it's like when a user goes on the platform and at the beginning, it's a friend of you and they say, no, I don't use this app. If at the beginning it hurts you, but if you ask him why, maybe that's a bigger opportunity.
Yes.
To find out how the
Yes.
next time he can stay on the app.
Yes.
Okay,
design is everything, my friend.
Okay.
Design is the reason all the problem with the world is bad design.
So and that's also a good thing that you said. I mean, design, it's not like Gucci, Louis V, or red, blue, gray, black.
No. Why Gucci choose those colors? Of course. I mean, why Armani or Gucci choose those colors? It's the why behind. Exactly. It's the why behind the color that is designed. It's not the color.
Yeah, exactly. They reach with gold when they use it.
Sorry?
It looks, when someone buys Gucci, and it's, the logo of Gucci, for example, it's gold, they feel like rich kids, how they tell themselves.
You go. So it's because they know how someone that comes into Gucci, what do they want to feel?
Once rich, luxus, I mean,
perfect.
Good.
Here you go. Once you start brainstorming, they want to feel this, they want to feel this. Okay. And you say, what are they proud of? What are their insecurities? What do they want to achieve? What are they afraid of? You need to take all that into account. And then you say, okay, we're going to put red this year. Understand what I mean?
Exactly.
What you see is actually the last stage of design.
Yeah, it's like when I was finding the software guy, he told me, front end, it's very important, Actually, it's only the 5% at the beginning because, first you need to write the program, because it should be useless. I mean, it should work. But it's 5% at the end, that's like, the final result for the end users. But at the same time, it's the most important thing because the user don't see what's behind. He wants immediately the solution in front of his eyes. No, I got it.
You
Yeah,
love
I see.
Jobs. I know you love Steve Jobs, my brother. And
Yeah,
like I said, one shouldn't try to be like someone else. You
yeah,
listen.
that was a
But
good point last time.
what I'm telling you is what makes him so different is because he's about design.
Hmm.
And design is not just a slick phone. You understand? It's the whole thing.
Hmm. It's giving him in the hand of the people the security, because when you have your phone, your iPhone, that you have the alarm, that you have the map, that you can text a message, that you can have a phone call, that you can look better with an iPhone. So you give the people
All those things.
exactly.
You remember, I remember one of the great thing about the iPhone is when you say, okay, so if you do touch screen, because people were not used to touch screen, you wanted to
Hmm.
like in the other phones, you had
With the QWERTY keyboards.
exactly, you had the keyboard external. But he said, wait, but
Exactly.
that's crazy because if I do touch screen, every time you have a different program, I can change the keyboard for that program. Okay, so he had to make people see the value of not having the touch screen. That's why he created the iPod first. You understand? So when
Hmm.
you get used to the iPod, and then he can help with that. But all those things, thinking of how you take the user where they are to
Hmm.
work with them. I mean, it's like you're thinking in terms of product, generations of product. I launched this thing in 6 months because I know in 12 months I'll put another feature because they've learned with the first one how to use the second. And then every 6 months, the product evolved, the whole development map of the product. So you can train the user, you walk with the user, the journey of him, letting go of old habit so he can
Hmm.
get used to new habit slowly because he see why it's an advantage for him. I mean, I I
But
battle.
sorry, Will, to train the user through the path, that's actually very difficult, because to have the user, to train the user, and walk with him through the path, you need to catch him at the beginning, right?
That's why at the beginning, it's like any
Hmm.
friendship or any conversation. You
Hmm.
start where the people are.
Hmm. Hmm.
You understand? Why is it so hard? I'm telling you, innovation is something engineers do. It's something scientists do.
Hmm.
Okay, call it. But adoption of that innovation is what a businessman does, is what an entrepreneur does. The value of an entrepreneur is how do I bring that disruption to the world? How do I find a way that people are willing to embrace something so different? That's what makes you an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur. It's because you walk them slowly. You understand?
Hmm.
When you listen to Jeff Bezos talking, I mean, Amazon was created, what, 96, 95?
96, no, 95, sorry, 95, I think.
96,
Yes.
95. I'm probably mistaking, maybe a few years, a couple of years more
Or
later.
94, I
But
don't know, yeah. Hmm.
you understand? But it's around there, okay? And he started with books,
Hmm.
but he knew he was going to build everything. But he knows why he started with books because it was the easiest. Because he didn't have inventory problem. I mean, he explained it, so you can look him up. But what I'm trying to tell you is the different stages of the Amazon ecosystem. He thought about it, about how to make people get used to do certain things, and then you evolve, and then you bring more.
Hmm.
When you look at the iPhone, for example, iPhone has zero innovation
Hmm.
lately. All they're changing is they change the
The
camera.
software,
No, they
the
change a
cam,
little the camera. They
yeah,
okay. So what
the
they're
color
doing
maybe.
is exactly. So they're optimizing the use people are giving to it.
Hmm.
Okay, which
Hmm.
is, I mean, when you're at that level, engineers are the one running again.
Hmm.
Okay, because what you're doing, you're optimizing functionality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then there's something that's called disruption, which is when what you're doing is so different. Okay. Apple haven't created any of that lately. And that's why they're so aggressive with their M&A, buying companies so you don't become a competitor. So we're going to see how they survive with that, because right now they're close to a utility, and I'm still surprised they still get those high margin. But they're behaving like a utility. They're behaving like an electric grid. You know, that's why they're having fight with Fortnite and all those guys, because they want to charge you like they're the government. I mean, I'm taxing you for being on my platform. Okay, so which is a very good business model. And like the CEO of Apple is saying, go somewhere else. You know, there is a reason why other platforms are not that great, because I do a great job, and I agree with it. It's an incredible platform. Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is, it's very tricky, because when you start thinking like that, you become closer to thinking like a utility. And the moment you start thinking like a utility, okay, that means people are forced to deal with me. You will miss an innovation. Your margin will shrink. Someone will come with something better. Okay.
Exactly.
So it is a constant fight, and I think they're doing a great job staying up to date. Okay, but when is the last time the experience is so different with an Apple? It's not that much. You understand? When I changed from the BlackBerry to the Apple, my God, my world changed.
Yeah.
My world changed
Immediately, in 1 second. As soon you started around the iPhone, yeah.
You know, at the beginning I had issues with the touch screen, but I was getting so much more out of it.
It was a new experience.
And I didn't care. Okay, it's uncomfortable at the beginning, but I didn't care. You know, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, when did Apple created that? No. People are taking more pictures. They're making their camera better. So if you see, all they're doing is making a lot of software so very normal people can take incredible pictures.
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. That's what they've been working a lot on. And I appreciate they do that, because I'm pretty bad taking pictures. And when I take a picture with that phone, it looks like, you know what I mean?
Like a photographer. Exactly.
I look like a photographer. But what I'm saying is, innovation has nothing to do with optimization. It's two different paths.
Yeah.
It's two different paths.
Exactly.
You know, when you innovate at the level of user experience, my God, that's what I mean. When people protest, actually, that's a very good thing for the designer.
Because they tell you right away, that's the problem, new designer. Give me a new solution, new designer.
It's not working. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's not working.
Wow. But
I think
I know how to do the next steps now.
Okay, that's beautiful.
That you helped me another time, like always.
We went through something interesting, you know. It's like
bad design.
Something interesting. Yeah, bad design, bro.
Bad design. You know, bad and design, you explained exactly, you know, what is design. I mean, design is not just the Gucci logo, but what's behind the Gucci logo. Why Gucci created this logo at the end.
Yes.
You know? And that's, I think, the best value that we gave to this talk tonight.
I agree with you, man. It took me a lot of mistakes to understand that. A lot of mistakes.
But the thing, you know, all the people say, you know, failures are good, but you don't need to do a lot of failure time. But
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. You don't need to be failing. Failing is something you tolerate, because you have to live with yourself. You understand? Because if you don't forgive yourself, you will not move forward. But I'm against saying, oh, you need to be failing to understand. No, I want to understand it from the first time.
Exactly. I don't want to fail. But as soon you move and maybe you do mistakes, you need, you know, I mean, at the end, you know, no one was born walking immediately, you know. Yeah. So, but that was a good one. Really good one.
Until someone start working from the beginning. All we can say is that so far,
nobody did it.
But that doesn't mean it cannot happen.
That's right. I think the only possible thing in life is dying. I think that's a process that we all share, you know. But that's great. It was good, man. It was really good talking to you, my friend.
Likewise, my brother. Take care.
Take care, brother. Bye bye.